the spiritual home of New Zealand Rugby League, an arena famous for its epic battles. A footy field littered with broken noses, arms, cheekbones and ribs. And that was just Mark Graham at half-time. Keep the legend of Carlaw Park alive. Visit carlawparkdiehards.co.nz, a site for true leagueies. Follow the most legendary league gear in the world. carlawparkdiehards.co.nz.
In the Widnes stint, you've played the grand final up there, and you've come back home. Were you drafted into the side straight away, or did you have to come back and do a trial?
No, we came back and we had the trial. I think I ended up playing a couple of games with Northcote that year, and I was happy to do that. But I knew that this was my last series, last probably test match. So
had you made that call yourself, or
yeah,
had you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to honour my professional commitments in the UK, and I keep coming back for these tests. It wasn't fair on the clubs over there, so yeah, I decided that this was it, and so 85 was going to be definitely my last series against the Aussies. So I, sort of planned that it was going to be a big curtain fall, and I knew that right back to the beginning, right back in 1980 when we first played at Carlaw Park against the Aussies and got absolutely trounced. That the improvements over the years had been gradual, but it had been distinctive, and I knew if we were going to win a series against the Aussies, it was going to be this 1985 series.
Had you had much talk with the players that were in the frame for being in the Kiwis? We're talking, you guys at this point are all the senior guys.
Yeah.
And was there conversations around that sort of same feeling?
No, we weren't cocky at all. We weren't big-headed about. It was just an inner feeling that I had, knowing that I was going to retire from international football after that, and if there was going to be a year, then it had to be this year. That at least the guys in '83 had, been involved in a win over the Aussies. And so it was gradual. The build-up was gradual, and so 1985, Lowy in charge again. Mark Graham, Fred, James Luluai, Dane, Kurtz, all the old boys still around, and young fellow that I thought really deserved all the accolades. It didn't get a great deal. Was young Ricky Cowan, the Cook Island prop from Auckland.
Yep, played all my junior Kiwi with Ricky, so I know what you're talking about, mate.
Ricky, he was my propping mate in that first test at Carlaw. And he's 19, 20, but he's tough. And so the game starts and all the hype that was going on. And you could feel through the game the tension. It wasn't just a tension on the field, it was a tension in the bloody stadium. It was great. The atmosphere was absolutely superb. And so we got in front, and it was just a bloody matter of holding them out. When Kurt scored, it looked like right beside the post. Kurt went over right beside the post, and Ollie converted. And you know, we got a bit cocky, got a bit big-headed about, yes, this is going to be it. This is going to be number one of a bloody clean sweep. And that bastard John Muggleton, John Rebo.
Rebo, yeah.
Yeah, Rebo scored in the corner and bloody kicked the penalty, kicked the conversion from touchline. But I think with something like 15 minutes of the game to go, Steve Roach being the other prop with Greg Dowling, there was a scuffle at the play the ball. I was marker, and I was first marker, and Ricky Cowan was second marker. Greg Dowling played the ball, and he'd played it, and well, I guess it was one of those things. I wasn't moving, and he wasn't gonna stand, and so he played the ball, and he walked forward into me, as if to say, "Get out of the bloody way." And so I cracked him.
Ball out in the touchline, and it could be a costly mistake for New Zealand at this present time.
Big Peter Tunks. The Canterbury prop forward, trying to get his pass free. There's a fight on in back play. Steve Roach is the Australian involved with Greg Dowling, the two prop forwards. The Tamati's into it for New Zealand, as too is Ricky Cowan. Meantime, Kurt Sorensen is still behind play, receiving attention. In fact, he's gone back onto the ground. Trainer working hard on Kurt Sorensen as Rascanaris tries to get the report from his touch judges. The ground clock is still going, incidentally. I think that's what Rascanaris is trying to signal. Now it's stopped. 1 minute 12 remaining. Sorensen is back onto his feet, albeit very groggily.
I think it was only a matter of time before New Zealand and Australia had a flare-up. It was heading that way most of the night, especially late in the first half and midway through the second half.
Well, 10 minutes in the sin bin.
No mistake about it, you know. Line in the sand, you walked over my side, bang. Yeah. So, it was all on. And Ricky did well, because out of the first couple of blows, Rick came in, and he then took over from me with Greg, and he was thumping 7 bells of shite out of Greg because Roachy came in. And Roachy came in from the blind side, and Roachy and I played together at Warrington for 3 years, and I said, "You mongrel, you took a bloody cheap shot." He said, "Well, I had to get in there somehow." But well, at the time it was real heavy stuff. But when we look back at it and we spoke to each other once we got to Warrington, or once they came over to Warrington, you accepted it as what it was and got on with it. But going off the field, when both of us got sinned in,
you got marched, yeah.
We got marched, and going off the field, it was the tone and the attitude that you know.
Now, is he beside you, or is he just behind you?
No, he was in front of me at first. We started walking, but for everyone who's played Australians in a test match, game of tiddlywinks or marbles or cards, you know, if they feel that they're going to lose, then they let fly with the gob. And so it was the case, and as we were walking off, he said, you know, if I got hold of you, I'd shag you up the arse. And I said, you know, why don't we get together? No, there was, what they find is that they find it easy to be abusive, verbally abusive, and that's when all the garbage talk came out. You know, you black this, you black that, and so as far as I was concerned, we were getting closer and closer to the fence. I said, well, that's okay. I said, see you in 2 weeks' time at Carlaw Park, and we'll sort it out then. But then when we got to the fence, perimeter fence at Lang Park, we came in touchy distance of each other, and he started touching me, and I said, nah, not having that. So turned around, and it was all on.
For Kevin Tamati and Greg Dowling as the result of that fight. So that'll be the end of the game for them. They can have an early shower. Kevin Tamati and Greg Dowling off. Oh, now there's a fight on, the two of them. They're into it over on the touchline. And the referee is going to stop play. The crowd's starting to spill in. Well, this is a very ugly scene. The referee holding up play as the two prop forwards, Kevin Tamati and Greg Dowling, in the middle of the crowd on the touchline as they were making their way to the sin bin. 52 seconds left in the game. The police coming in to try and restore order as the crowd spills down from both the grandstand and from the hill area. There's less than a minute left. What a sensational end.
That's one thing we didn't want to see at the end of this game, a flare-up like that, a nasty incident after the event.
Now they've got their way through into the sin bin. As New Zealand get a penalty, and it's going to be on again. Well, the ground clock is still going.
I was comfortable with it. I was, to be honest, I was really at home and at ease with how it turned out. I knew that from the field that there wasn't any danger, that it wasn't a dangerous place for me to be in. As my concern was that the crowd was going to get involved, but they didn't, thankfully, and they just stood back and let us get on with it, which was great. I'm led to believe that there was an Australian cricketer who, and he was a leaguey as well. Rochi was telling me he was where we were dukesing it out
on the fence line.
He was on the fence, and he was tossing up because he was in that age group. He was tossing up whether to continue playing league or go and play cricket, and he said, that made my mind up, that fight. Yeah.
And look, and there must have been a ton of blues, there must have been a ton of fights, but in that era, test match, television coverage, the amount of cameras that were involved was a lot different to the earlier football games that had been played. I think Channel 9 and all the Australian sports at that time really come on quite strong on how they were covering games.
Yes.
And the rock music and all that sort of carry on used to come on. So I'm told there are 2 edits or 2 cuts of it. One's the New Zealand coverage and one's the Australian coverage. Now, so there's the legend grows as time goes on.
Yeah.
It's spilled over. It's gone off on the fence line.
Yeah.
The police have come in and broken it up? No?
No, it wasn't. It was probably only went for a minute, maybe 2 minutes at the most.
It was a good solid round with no gloves on, mate.
well,
too,
yeah. In the end, it was realisation that this is not good.
Did it carry on up the tunnel?
No. It was over on the field, on the fence line, and that was it. That was it for me. It was the end of the game. We wouldn't get back on there, so there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing Greg could do about it. So it was just take it as it is, and I think we gave the sporting world a good look at the inside of front rowers when they
absolutely
they lose it. But yeah, no crimes about it. The rest is history, I guess, as they say.